Are you ready to take your business to new heights? Brace yourself for an exhilarating exploration as we unveil the wealth of expertise behind the diverse service offerings guaranteed to transform your business into a true success story. Today, we unlock the vault of knowledge and expertise that HLB Bahamas brings to the table. This is Unveiling the Expertise, exploring HLB Bahamas' diverse service offerings. Keep watching. A brand new episode of You and Your Money starts now.
You and Your Money is brought to you by HLB Bahamas.
Welcome to You and Your Money, everyone. Joining us today to talk about unveiling the expertise, exploring HLB Bahamas' diverse service offerings, and more specifically, HLB Bahamas' journey and global network are representatives from HLB Bahamas, including Managing Partner Philip Galanis and Audit Partner Shoneva Abraham. Philip and Shoneva, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Shoneva, I want us to start this conversation by just finding out how old is HLB Bahamas and who are the firm's partners?
HLB Bahamas is now 25 years this year. HLB was started in 1998 by the current managing partner, Philip Galanis. We also have John Bain, who is our advisory partner, and 𝗪𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 audit partner of our firm.
Okay, good to know. Now, Philip, tell us, what does HLB mean?
HLB is an international brand. It really has derived from the last names of the founders of the organization back in 1969. And so we've got quite a number of years under our belt. H stands for Hodgson's, L for Landau, and B for Brands. Those were the founders of the firm, and we have abbreviated the name now to just refer to ourselves as HLB.
All right, so with there being the HLB brand, Shoneva, tell us, where is it positioned within the global network of accounting firms?
So HLB is a part of what is considered the Forum of Firms, which is an international platform that monitors global accounting brands around the world. And currently there are about 28 or 27 firms that make up the Forum of Firms. HLB is a part of that body, and HLB currently stands at number 10, which we are so proud and so happy about. Our standing has been moving over the past few years, and we're moving quite rapidly. We've also received the award for Network of the Year, and so the brand is very dynamic. We are in 130 plus countries around the world, and we're constantly growing. So we're so happy and so excited about that.
Well, congratulations on such an accomplishment, making it to number 10. I know that there's definitely a whole lot of work and effort that's being put in by the overall team to make sure that you move from number 10 and hopefully get to the number 1 spot. Now, Philip, tell us, what is the impact that HLB Bahamas is making on client services globally?
HLB has really shifted in many ways from being primarily an audit or reassurance firm to becoming an advisory firm. Many of our clients, very many of our clients, both domestic and globally, have identified various things that need to be done in the advisory space. Advisory is, another name for advisory is consulting for the most part. We used to talk about a consulting firm, and there are many of those that offer services. HLB is one of the premier accounting firms that has expanded, has accentuated its energies in growing the advisory business, because we believe that, like audits, which tend to be past looking, advisory services really are forward looking and help businesses to restructure, reorganize, and to implement policies and procedures that will help them to grow into the future. And so it's a wonderful area of expansion of the practice. And since I've been involved with HLB, I've seen a tremendous, a decided shift from the traditional accounting and audit services to advisory.
What kind of businesses actually approach you for the advisory services?
We have a wide range of businesses. I mean, a business from almost every industry and almost every sector in the Bahamas. Companies come to us domestically and internationally, regionally as well, and ask us to perform work for them. And it really varies from tourism to financial services, airlines, manufacturing, merchandising, and so forth. And so we have a plethora of service offerings that we provide to a wide range of companies and industries.
Shoneva, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yes, so when we work with our clients, at the end of it, we look for them to look to us to become their trusted advisors. Whenever they're making big or large financial decisions or investment decisions, that they would come to us for guidance on what to do. And if it's something that we're not directly able to assist with, we are able to point them in the right direction. And ultimately for our clients, that is what we've become. We've become their trusted advisors.
Now, Shoneva, I want us to look into what are your firm's core competencies and how do they differ from each other?
So the firm, as mentioned before, we have 4 partners, and the first area I'd like to look at is the accounting and tax area, which is managed by the partner 𝗖𝗓𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗔. She deals with our accounting clients that require QuickBooks setup, QuickBooks modifications, as well as just data entry. She also looks at taxes, filing of taxes with Inland Revenue, as well as if there are discrepancies with any tax filings. There are some clients, they don't come to us initially for that, but when they have challenges with Inland Revenue, she would be the person who would work with them and guide them through the process. And there have been instances where we've been able to successfully help some clients with those types of situations and those challenges. We also do reviews, which still falls under 𝗖𝗓𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗏 portfolio. Reviews that are, it provides limited assurance, not like with an audit, but it's limited assurance. The time frame on that may be a little bit shorter than an audit. That's a service that Ray focuses on along with her team. And my focus is just financial audits. I do work with various clients in various industries, chiefly financial services, funds, mutual funds. We also have governmental and quasi-government clients that we perform financial audits for. We also have some clients, they are in the nonprofit space. Homeowners associations, we do have a few of those locally in Nassau, and we also have some of them that are in Freeport. We've actually done quite a bit of those in Freeport. So, and it's all come about because, you know, clients are happy with the work that they've received from us, and they would have advised others that, hey, you know, HLB is a mid-tier boutique firm, and they get the work done, and they get the work done on time, and we're pleased with the work that they do. So that has afforded us a good reputation.
Philip, is there anything else that you would have wanted to add to that?
Well, yeah, there's only one other area that we didn't really cover, and that is corporate services. Corporate services is a generic term that refers to everything that falls outside of audit, accounting, and advisory. And we have a financial corporate service provider's license issued by the Securities Commission that enables us to incorporate companies, that allows us to manage those companies. There are a lot of people around the world who want to have a physical presence in the Bahamas but don't want to be here in person. And so we represent them in many ways through our corporate services entity, HLB Corporate Services Limited, a separate limited liability company. And so again, we are able to offer our clients a wide range of services, from startups, from incorporations. We provide establishments of foundations, executive entities, IBCs, international business companies, regular Bahamian companies. And so the financial corporate service provider's license enables us to provide, again, a depth of services that some of the firms do not offer. As we also indicated earlier, the advisory services segment of the firm, or of our practice, has been expanding, and that department is led by John Bain. He's the partner who oversees advisory services. Advisory services, again, covers a wide range of areas, and it can be anything from investigations into fraud examinations. It can cover forensic accounting and forensic reviews. It can cover business valuations. Can cover corporate restructuring, things such as internal audits. There are a whole range of areas that fall outside the ambit of audit, tax, accounting, and corporate services. And they generally become sort of a catch-all for the other areas of the traditional practice of accounting firms. So advisory services has been a growing part, a very intrinsic part, an integral part of the growth of HLB Bahamas. And under the leadership of John Bain, we think that that will continue over the years ahead.
Wow, you surely do offer a plethora of services that I did not even think of ahead of time. But we have to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look at HLB's diverse core competencies and services. This is You and Your Money. We'll be right back.
The HLB advantage, of course, is one, experience. We have more than 100 years of experience if you combine the number of years that the people in that division have worked in corporate services. We have got a plethora of highly qualified professionals, whether they're lawyers, accountants, financial corporate service providers, and other service providers in this space.
Our clients come to us because they know the level of work and the level of service that they're going to get. They know that they're going to get their work on time. They know that the price point is going to be better than the competitor, and they like the relationship that they have with us. And so because they have that level of comfort, they would call on us to help them through the next phase of their business.
Welcome back to You and Your Money. In the first segment, we talked with representatives from HLB Bahamas about HLB Bahamas' journey and global network. We're continuing our discussion, and in this segment, we'll be speaking about diverse core competencies and services. I want us to now go a bit deeper and more specifically talk about the audit component. Tell us, what is an audit and why a business is audited?
An audit is a service that we provide to clients. It provides reasonable assurance on whether the financial statements of the company are in accordance with a specific framework. Most of the clients that we complete audits for are based on international financial reporting standards. And we often find that clients have the audits done based on the requirements of financial institution, based on the facility that they may have with the bank, or it would be for meeting the requirements of a regulator, like the Insurance Commission, the Compliance Commission, the Securities Commission of the Bahamas, or the Gaming Board.
Philip, what are some of those benefits of having an audit actually done?
The purpose of an audit, as Shoneva said, is to provide a level of assurance about the reasonably stated financial statements. What that means essentially is that people who look to audited financial statements should be given a degree, or should obtain a degree of satisfaction and confidence that the numbers that are presented by a company or an entity, whether it's government or private sector, are fairly stated. And that can best be done by the work of independent auditors, persons who are not connected to and who have no financial interest in the companies or entities that they are auditing. Persons who typically will require audits are, as Shoneva mentioned, those public sector enterprises that she enumerated. But more importantly, the audit of private companies is really essential for the shareholders of the company, the owners, the directors and officers of the company, the banks that rely on those audited financial statements to determine whether or not they should grant loans or whether or not there are things that they should be aware of, and also for the to comply with the laws of the country, in many instances, statutory bodies are required to file their audited financial statements in Parliament. And so it really speaks to accountability, about transparency, and about confidence that the information that is provided in those financial statements that have been audited by an independent auditor are reliable and can be looked at with a degree of confidence that they are reasonably accurate.
How soon should one actually consider having an audit done?
Well, that would depend on the purpose for which the audit is being done. Mm-hmm. If it is an entity that has to meet the requirements of a specific regulator, I would say that you'd have to jump on that right away. In most instances, when you file for your license, most times they ask that you name who your auditors are. And at that point, you would be in contact with the auditor in order to start preparing for the audit. Now, most companies, their year-ends the year-end is December 31. And depending on the type of license that the client has, then they would have to file their financial statements within a specific time frame. Typically, what we do with our clients is we would perform our preliminary procedures with the client. Let's just say if the client has a year-end of December 31, we would start from like September, sending out preliminary documents such as engagement letters, and just performing our independence to ensure that we are independent of the client before we provide the service. And depending on the size of the entity, we would commence our interim work, which is, once again, some preliminary procedures to assist with ensuring that when the actual year-end comes, which is the end of the year, December, we would have completed certain procedures up to particular points so that our clients would not be late in filing their financial statements with the specific regulator. For the most part, the timeline is agreed upon with the client based on when they would be able to provide the information to us. And once that timeline is agreed, we work toward that to ensure that our clients meet their specific deadlines. Now, that is in the case of a client that has a regulatory filing deadline. There are some clients, they need it for the purposes of the bank. And in those cases, we once again, same procedure, set a timeline, and it can be anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, and sometimes longer depending on the size of the entity. And also depends on if we're providing or if we're looking at any specific events that occurred during the course of the year that might be a bit different from what was expected, or maybe a bit different from what was done in prior years. That could also cause the timeline to be a bit stretched. But once the key thing is, I would say, is planning it. Once you plan it out and both parties mutually agree to the time and stick to it, we tend to get the work out with relative ease.
Shoneva was being very modest, actually. One of the strengths of HLB Bahamas is that there are stringent timelines that must be met for statutory reasons in many cases. And one of the things that we differentiate ourselves with at HLB is that we always get our financial statements to the regulators on time. That's critically important because regulators need to be able to respond timely to the operations of entities that we audit. And so we recognize that it's important for the regulator to be timely informed, but it's also important for the client to not appear to be, disheveled and disorganized in terms of being able to get the audits completed in a reasonable period of time.
Now, aside from the timeliness, is there any other benefit of being audited by HLB?
We think that we provide a quality audit. There are some persons and some companies that are in many cases are over audited. We audit by standards, international auditing standards in most cases, and we have to comply with those standards, but we also have to be sure that we're not over auditing that would then end up costing the client enormous higher sums that they would normally pay, or cause us to not be able to file financial statements on a timely basis.
Also, the key thing I mentioned in terms of planning, you plan to fail or you fail to plan. And so what we focus on are the key risks associated with the business. And that can vary depending on the type of industry that the client may be in. The most important thing is to focus on those risks associated with that particular client. And the risk-based approach that we take, it is based on, as required by the standards, that's something that you have to be able to defend, so to speak. So we also complete audits for clients that may not necessarily have to report to a regulator. There are some entities that have to report to shareholders, and one of the timelines that sometimes come up, or one of the deadlines that come up, is when clients are having their annual general meeting. And apart from completing the audit, we are required to present those to at the annual general meeting, and that's a service that we also provide to our clients.
Finally, there is the requirement of banks in the Bahamas. Banks have become much more sophisticated and are now requiring many companies, previously where they submitted management accounts, that is, accounts prepared by the management of a company, to have a look at by independent auditors, either in the form of a review, which is a less stringent exercise, or an audit. And in many cases, as part of the covenants, the bank covenants or the bank terms that are given with respect to loans, is that companies must file their audited financial statements within a certain period of time, normally 90 days or 120 days of the year end. And so that also guides our approach to auditing and timely delivery of financial statements and the completion of audits, because again, some banks have imposed certain penalties for late filings, and we do not want to be the cause of that, and companies don't want to be the cause of that. So all of those factors drive us to really plan our audits efficiently and effectively so that we are able to make timely filings.
All right, well, Philip and Shoneva, we have to take another break. And when we get back, we'll talk about HLB Bahamas' impact and anticipating future trends. This is You and Your Money. We'll be right back.
Our clients come to us because they know the level of work and the level of service that they're going to get. They know that they're going to get their work on time. They know that the price point is going to be better than the competitor, and they like the relationship that they have with us. And so because they have that level of comfort, they would call on us to help them through the next phase of their business.
The HLB advantage, of course, is one, experience. We have more than 100 years of experience if you combine the number of years that the people in that division have worked in corporate services. We have got a plethora of highly qualified professionals, whether they're lawyers, accountants, financial corporate service providers, and other service providers in this space.
Welcome back to You and Your Money. Our guests from HLB Bahamas are still with us. In the previous segments, we spoke about HLB Bahamas' journey and global network, along with their diverse core competencies and services. In this segment, I want us to talk about HLB Bahamas' impact and anticipating future trends. Philip, how has the accounting profession changed, and what additional changes do you anticipate for the 21st century?
The profession has changed because the society and the economy have changed. What has happened is that we have seen a growth in the need for accountants, tremendous growth, particularly in the area of governmental accounting, because and accounting and auditing and accounting services required by public sector entities, because the laws require them to be audited or for certain things to be put in place in terms of accountability. In addition to that, the entire landscape of accounting has changed, and therefore by that I mean we are now spending a lot of time in the accounting profession on advisory services, not just HLB but other firms as well. And to that end, we have got to synchronize our human resources to meet the needs of our changing clientele.
Now, Shoneva, Philip talking about how the needs are changing and things are changing. How will artificial intelligence affect the work that you do?
Like other aspects of our world, AI is making its way through everything. And the best way for any sector to be able to function is to not be afraid of it, but to embrace it and to see how best it can make the work that they do more efficient. There are several companies that are connected to our HLB network that has provided guidance on how to incorporate it, not just in the work that we do, but to be able to guide and assist our clients in embracing AI. It's not going anywhere. Brace yourself. And we don't look at it as something to fear, because I've seen articles where they've spoken about, okay, what the impact is going to be on AI. AI is going to take your job. AI, you're going to become redundant because AI can do what you do more efficiently. We should never operate from a position of fear. It should be one where we recognize what our strengths are as individuals and leverage off of that knowledge. You want to work better, work smarter, and not be fearful.
AI definitely isn't going anywhere. Philip, I understand that there is a tremendous shortage of Bahamian accountants. How do firms address this shortage?
That is perhaps the most challenging undertaking of the 21st century, I think, in the Bahamas, and not only in the Bahamas, but elsewhere. And the reason for that is because we're not producing accountants fast enough. As we produce accountants in the firms, they leave the firms to go into private sector, primarily because the compensation and the compensation packages are higher. What we have done at HLB is we've recognized that we've got to provide timely delivery of service to our clients, and so we brought in a number of persons from abroad, and that's worked out really well. We make it a very, very determined decision not to bring in any more than we have to, but where we need to satisfy our clients, we do that. Finally, we've been thinking very seriously about outsourcing some of our work, because that is really the way to go, rather than have people in for protracted periods of time. In those areas where you have compressed work to be done in a short period of time, it makes more sense for us to outsource the work. And so we and other firms are addressing the manpower or person shortage in the profession by looking at developing Bahamians where we can, augmenting them with expats where we must, and outsourcing where it's necessary.
Okay. Well, Shoneva, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so one of the things that we're so proud of at HLB is our START program, which is a program where we work with students who are in 12th grade and preparing them to enter the accounting profession. They would perform or work with us for a week during work experience, which is a requirement to receive their certificates at the end of high school. And we assist them through college in terms of just providing guidance in the profession and also providing work experience for them. And then once they're done, we will hire them as full-time employees. So the program is called START. START it has three components. START, which is high school; JUMP, which is whilst they are in college; and then LEAP, when they become full-time team members with us at HLB Bahamas. So we are trying to, in the best way that we can, assist in adding to the pool of professional accountants here in the Bahamas by providing that training, that guidance, and that coaching that's needed in order to ensure that the profession continues on.
All right. Well, Philip and Shoneva, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us.
The impact of HLB Bahamas continues to evolve. As we bring today's show to a close, let us remember that you can take your business to new heights with the expertise behind the diverse service offerings of HLB Bahamas. But just before we go, Philip and Shoneva, please let the viewers know how they can get in contact with you.
We are located at Caves Village, West Bay Street. That's where our physical offices are. We're also in Freeport, Grand Bahama, and we can be reached at in Nassau at area code 327-0689.
Okay, well, that's it for today's show. Don't forget to follow You and Your Money on Facebook and tune in next week for a brand new episode. I'm Maria Christina. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.